Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Starseed Jason Moss, bringing you peace and love and unity in this time of division and separation, and reminding you of the need to love one another, hold each other very close to each other in these times. These times are changing. There is a great deal of change that is coming. The information I received from sources of the race, you have heard the name of the race before, the hybrid civilization of the Sassani. I don't channel publicly, and I don't see me channeling in front of audiences or doing things like this. This is already being done by someone out there in the world, and there are people channeling other different races or people or beings. I have been doing some private channeling in some groups on Facebook, to which the accuracy is 100%. October 4th, there was a channel message that came through from Benico indicating a great storm and earthquake, that a great storm in the skies was coming to the great nation. On October 28th, that in fact was fulfilled and happened. So the channelings are in fact accurate. The channelings I received in 2011, early in 2011, indicated a great volcano would hit the country of Chile. And I told a witness this on camera, and other people were aware at the time, and indeed a great volcanic eruption took place. I was channeling a reptilian being at the time. I am an advocate also for the reptilian people, in that they're not all evil or bad. And I speak from my experiences and from my heart, and I am a reptilian experiencer myself. I have, in fact, had memories resurface in 2010 of having been with a reptilian female hybrid. I won't go into details about that. It's very personal, very private, and very loving. And that's all I'm going to say about that, and I'm not even going to reveal her name. I am allowed to reveal Benico's name because Benico has said that I can, and that this is something we both agreed on, that we'll be putting that forth. It does not mean to say that my connection to Benico is any less important or loving and any less valuable, or it doesn't mean that she's on the side there. This was for hybridization purposes, but there was love involved in the process. So the children that were made out of love. But she is not the kind of companion or love as Benico is in my life. There are changes that are coming again in the future. You need to understand that this is not necessarily man-made disasters or climate change due to global warming. If you believe this, all natural disasters are man-made climate change, if you believe it's all HARP technology, you are wrong. Nor is it any kind of alien invasion or alien attack of any kind. As I understand this in the channelings, it is part of the change process that is taking place at this particular time. While these sort of things were prevented in the past by another civilization due to a contract agreement from 60 years ago, that civilization that signed that contract agreement is now gone, and what's left now are the hybrids, who are saying, we're here, we're our own civilization. We have an interest in mankind as equals and wish to join in the human civilization, kind of like how NATO has an agreement among its nations, like an alliance with the human race, or a more accurate description would be the United Nations. The only way to do that is through intervention and non-intervention and a more proactive role. There's a great deal of darkness on this planet and needs to be cleaned up. But the good people of this world, who are referred to as the Lords of Light, who would be your admirals and generals and politicians, who are good people, who have courage and love in their hearts, and are fighting for democracy and freedom for the planet Earth, they need help. The Sassani that I've been in contact with are going to help them. This is a guided, directed help in a non-intervention sense. In other words, where before they would have prevented something that might have maybe a disaster that was being brought on by other forces. you have to know where those forces are. You can't if the incident is completely and utterly prevented. So if someone shoots a weapon in the forest, you need to hear it to know the direction where it came from, to find the enemy and find them. Now, love and light is coming to earth in a golden age. But before we can reach that time of order, there is of course some time of chaos. Change inevitably brings some sense of chaos. It's something that cannot be helped in a world so full of disorder. It's not as if you're all going to wake up one day and have suddenly a golden consciousness, an ascension in thought, and everyone is just suddenly peaceful. There's just too much that needs to be cleaned up here on this planet. Unfortunately and sadly, they have to allow those others out there, and they have the ability to stop them from shooting. They have to let them shoot, so that the good people on this planet can hear where that shot came from and find them. This is the alliance now. This is how the alliance with humanity begins. It began in October in 2012 with the human race and the Sassani and the other civilizations and the alliance they have. Truly, this is the beginning of the alliance. You know where that shot came from. You can find who fired it. The good people of the earth and the good people of the governments, like America, which is a powerfully enriched country of courage and love, and a democracy that has a freedom for all everywhere. Now, I'm not promoting one nation over another, but there's a great deal of love and compassion and understanding and admiration for such concepts among the human race and in such nations that present this admirably and nobly. But again, every nation is imperfect and needs balance and has darkness and issues of darkness surrounding its governments that need to be cleaned up. That's all I can say about that. I can't really say any more about that. But there's no alien attacks or invasions or anything like that. This is a contact out of love and kindness. That it's necessary and it has a purpose to reveal that, and the kindness in this comes out of a deep love for the people for which they're in contact with, and the admiration and love for those for which they're not in contact with, who sit in power and authority, who need help to help clean up the darkness. And they refer to these people in charge again, who have that courage, strength, and light within their hearts for the freedom of and the democracy and the compassion for their fellow man. These people are generals, admirals, and high-ranking officials, and intelligence people, and politicians, and people in Congress, and people in power. They refer to them as the Lords of Light. Lawmakers and things like that. They are the Lords of Light. It is encouraged that you continue to follow and obey the law. Do not break the law. Do not go out of your way to become anarchists and try to take down government or burn flags or go against the grain in that sense. You must obey the law. You must understand that the government that you live in is not evil. It does have some issues that will be cleaned up, that is not known to the public. The corruption will be dealt with. And the Lords of Light will prevail with the living light. They will prevail together. A new agreement will be established in the old place. I don't know where that is. It will be a contract agreement that will be signed where the other one was signed in the 1950s, but this is a new agreement. This is an equal agreement. This isn't going to be a civilization needing help that will sign away anything for any reason, and that gave too much blank check writings to those who had rather sinister purposes at the time, in 1953, 52, around that time, as I've been told this. This information has been given to me. And it's no one online, and I said given to me, and I'm talking about a channeled information, tele-empathic connection with my mind. So to dispel any of these questions and gray musings about where's he getting the information from, it's coming directly to me. So like I said, even if the internet was cut, telephone lines, whatever, I walk down the street, sit in a field, I'm still getting this information. Whether or not I'm in contact with celebrity researchers and I go television in public, as has been suggested by some, I'm open to that only for the purpose of love and helping others, and helping not necessarily just for the disclosure of the truth. It's more deeply involved than that. It's more for the purpose of whatever I do publicly is mainly to help the Lords of Light. And you know who you are. I'm on your side. We are on your side. If there's sides to be taken. The division of ego in this world and the separation and this darkness has gone on long enough. The power base to those for which have caused so much pain and suffering is coming to an end. The time of change is at hand. The golden age is beginning, the unification and the end of that separation, and the love that will prevail and the light that will shine into all the darkness and illuminate everywhere in all lives is coming. Amnesty is granted to those who come forward and say, hey, I want to put down that old way. I want to get on with the new way. Let's cooperate with the righteous, with the moral center. Let's go that direction. Shall I turn that heater off? This is your fight. And in the end, it will be the Lords of Light who will prevail. They will be the ones who will finish this fight against that darkness on this planet. They will be the ones who will prevail. The civilization I'm in contact with is not going to finish this for you. You are going to finish this for yourself. And that's the way it should be. No one's going to take control. That's still your world. You will have the power and the authority. Think of it as D-Day, 1944. The American power was very powerful. Thousands of ships showed up on the French shores. Yes, that's very powerful. France was very much under the darkness of Nazi control. But remember what General Eisenhower said in his speech. And he said to the people of France, listen to me carefully. This is going to be your government. We are not invading France and taking it from you. Though we're coming here very powerfully, we're giving it back to you because we care about you. You are our friends. We're here to help you. You'll be fighting equally alongside us in this final battle. And we'll be fighting shoulder to shoulder at this point. If you had any doubt and suspicions of our motives prior to this day, understand that after June 6, 1944, you will understand from this point on whose side we're on. The light, the truth, and love, and freedom for the people of France. And I'm paraphrasing that last part of what Eisenhower said, but that's what he said. He made it very clear. The civilization I've been in contact with is saying the same thing. In fact, they even use the analogy in my mind, because a lot of what they're saying to me, obviously, they're not speaking English. English language is not coming across at times. Their own language does. I get imagery and images, and sometimes I have to go into a full channel on my own sitting here and have one of them speak through me to get the information to come through in such a way that it is in clear language and English language that I understand it enough to put it down for you to get it. But the message I've been getting is one of hope and love, and the outcome is a victory. And an end to the darkness, the final end to, I can't say what, I won't say on camera. But you know what I'm talking about. Those listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. But in any case, that is going to happen. Having said that, moving on to the next thing I want to share with you is that I understand that in 1992 I was taken back in time to save myself and Benico from a circumstance that had got out of hand at the time. While I'm not putting down anybody, I'm not knocking anyone and saying that the military experience in 1992 is putting anyone down in any way at all. I am only reporting it as it happened. Again, recap: the regressive grays arrived in the first timeline of events after I'd held Beniko, and she was, she pulled from me, taken from me. The regressive grays, are known as the dark ones, showed up, and very angry with the soldier involved, who was the main one out of all of them out there. He was responsible for the connection and understanding how to contact them. He sacrificed his life bravely and said, "Don't kill everyone here, take me," and the man died in front of me. And that was traumatic. At this point, Beniko got upset, and the soldiers became very agitated with her because she, as they saw her, was alien. And there was an argument that it broke out, I don't know with who, and then someone killed Beniko in front of me. I was 20 years old at the time, and I remember I chased into the crowd in an attempt to save Beniko. I died trying to save Beniko. I was shot in the side of my head and killed. I hovered over my body, and there was a lot of commotion. Everything went haywire at this point. It went hell haywire. Beniko's spirit came and got me, and we left together to some other dimension. Now, a second timeline memory that's in my mind, and I was told that I would have these two memories. I have the memory of, again, standing on the road with Beniko, and I'm holding her. She is taken from me. At this point, someone says, "They're in the area, they're in the area." And then a triangular craft appeared over our street, at which point, at this time, a man appeared in front of me, in front of the soldiers, wearing glasses and a baseball cap, such as how I look now. Now, at age 20, I didn't wear a hat, and I didn't wear glasses. The man was a middle-aged looking fella, kind of how I look now, because I'm 40 years old. And he began talking very kindly to the officer, the gentleman who was like a scientist person who seemed to understand how to contact the Greys, or how to do this. That man and the man in the glasses were very friendly to each other. They then laughed and exchanged kindness, and then they both spoke to the colonel who was there. At which point it was agreed that Beniko would be going with the man with the glasses, and I understand the man with the glasses was my future self, or me as I am now. That future Jason Moss then took Beniko and left, and the night ended. I lived through that night at age 20 and on to the next days and weeks and months and years after, because I went back in time to save Beniko, if that makes any sense. So I'm sitting here on camera in front of you now as a consequence of going back there to save me then, if that makes any sense. The being that took me back in time on that craft, okay, I've been asked about that, and I was made aware of the fact that in fact, and I have not had a lot of contact with this being, nor have I channeled him, and I'm still getting through the process of understanding this, and right now I'll give you the first draft of this as I understand it, and this is subject to change. That being that took me back there on the craft was named Boroni, B-O-R-O-N-I, Boroni. His name was Boroni. He is Sassani. He is a commander of the craft that was flying it at the time. He is a Sassani commander. I believe the craft's name was the Saragus. It is a time ship of some kind. Boroni is my future incarnate, as you would understand it in this timeline. But I am given to understand that I'm not going to be channeling Boroni. That's not what Boroni is all about. He's not a spiritual holy man guide like Bashar is. That's not Boroni's purpose. Boroni is very busy with the ship he's on and the business he has. I have met Boroni. In my childhood, I remember a Christmas in 1977 in which I remember, for some reason or another, he was protecting me from an incident involving some issues with my family, my mom and dad. I was aboard the ship playing at his feet. He was sitting in a chair. He was very busy. There were toys that were there at the time, and I was playing with these toys, and he was busy doing stuff. He looked at me with his eyes for a moment, because I thought, who is this? And I felt very comfortable in his presence. And he opened his eyes where I could see his pupils. Then he had white iris at large pupils, and he had a black lens he could pull over his eyelids, so you could just see the large black eyes. He has connections to Benico. Many deep connections that I'm only beginning to understand. Boroni has come through in my messages in the past. He is something like a defense, if you will, for this civilization. Not necessarily a military, as you'd understand it, but a very serious-minded being. But no kind of a military of any kind. But he's not very talkative. He's a very serious, very straight being. Anyways, like I said, the only drawing that I have of him would be something like that. And that's about it at the end of the day. I think if I get yelled at for some of my demeanors, I would have to say that I think the connection with him, I tend to be a little straight man about things, a bit logical. I think that in the spiritual movement going on, there's been a great deal of emphasis put upon being extremely positive and extremely bright white about everything. And there's no wrong in that, but there's also no wrong in being serious, logical, and to the point. Boroni, I guess we're both each other, aren't we, at the end of the day? But again, that's subject to change if I get further information about this, but for now I'm going to say that. And like any good medium, you put it out there. Even if you're wrong, you put it out there. Okay, you have to say this. Don't leave anything out. For research demands this. Leave nothing out. Don't edit what you have. Okay, you put it out there. There it is. I'm not saying I have doubts of what I report. I'm simply saying that you have to put it all out there. And that if anything further comes to light about what I've just revealed here in this video clip on YouTube, that I will be putting it out there. But it is okay for you, the experiencers, to feel free to edit something and maybe change it later as more information comes to light. I am irritated with people who continuously say that, nope, that's not what you said the last time, so you must be lying. No, that's wrong, in fact. And every scientist will tell you that that's wrong to be that way, because information can change. You may have a piece of the picture, and you may report that piece even without your interpretation. It's still going to come off sounding like that's your interpretation. But as time passes, you may get more of the piece and put together and see the whole picture. Again, you report that, and it may sound like that's your interpretation, but it's not. An interpretation is based on a person's own experiences in their past, knowledge mixed with their feeling and speculation about something. So interpretation and speculation, if you look up the definition of the two words, there tends to be a parallel in those kinds of wordings, interpretation, and what it means to interpret something and what it means to speculate about something. It's like the musing of something. If I interpret French to English to someone, an interpreter, that is going to be a very direct and sometimes not very accurate crossover. In fact, that's called a translation, and it shouldn't even be called an interpretation or interpreter. A translator is someone who takes it very directly, very literally. And as a medium, I am a very direct translator. I wouldn't call myself an interpreter of any kind. An interpretation that we have of our events and experiences is never a translation of that event and experience. It is often a speculation based on our cognitive awareness and previous experiences of what we know of things. So we kind of add our own thought to it, part of our imagination, kind of our own theories and hypotheses. All that's connected to the same definition of that. In my videos, I've not provided you with any interpretations, nor have I provided you with any speculations. I've given you very direct translations and very direct memories of what I recall. And that's it. And this is what I understand at this time, that Boroni is my future incarnate. And I do not seek to connect with masses of people who have these similar experiences and try to maybe validate myself in some way or to gain some public notoriety in some sense or acceptance. I don't need any of this, in fact. I know what I know. I'm not being rude, but I simply don't need that. I don't have to have it. I know what I know. And I understand what I understand, and I just know this. Okay? I've managed to validate a lot of it on my own. I am given to understand that I am permitted to reveal this information at this time. It is reaching the appropriate people as I understand it, and that is good. So it's kind of like I'm sending messages and channelings to the Lords of Light, who are in fact receiving these messages, and that is good. But it's not necessarily spiritual awareness, awakening, consciousness. A lot of it is what I'm bringing to you. It does help in that respect. But it's not necessary to have it massed to the millions of people and sit in a conference in front of 1,000 people and do that work. That's not my mission. Again, unless that is subject to change. Commander Boroni is not very high up in that civilization as the other one is, who is doing that work in the public, as I understand it. That's more of an ambassador, and I'm just kind of throwing that in there. Now that is my interpretation. There's an interpretation that outranks me. So there is a bit of a rank going on there. So I'll bring that to light as well. So yeah, obviously any mainstream channeler of that civilization comes forward and were to say, I give you an order, Boroni, even though I'm sitting in this human body, Boroni is listening here in this time frame in a ship nearby me and would follow that order exactly. And so would I. Or we both would. But as I understand it, that is what's coming to light at this time. And so again, I'm saying that I love all of you, I care for all of you, and I am doing this out of love and out of the need to help the masses. And this is our 2 cents worth, if you will, at this particular time, which will precipitate a positive change and a positive direction. And I apologize for sounding a bit militant or a bit logical or a bit cold or not very, something very odd about the way I am is because I'm not a holy man in that respect. If I say I now at this point, I guess this is a bit of a Boroni coming through. But as a functional member of that civilization, and a part of that function that is the, it is more of a focus and a function to do and focus on other things more technically related and ship-wide related, and on the basis of running systems and things in that sense, and keeping order and maintaining an order kind of as a security, if you will, and keeping that in line. So it's not necessarily gonna that I'm gonna come off sounding very much in the regard of, and greetings and hello and I love you. It's like a soldier trying to talk here and about something to do with Easter time. It's a bit difficult to get that to be like that whenever I sense Boroni and feel or have him come through me. It's like a security officer trying to play the role of Santa Claus, if you will, or play the role of a priest. Which, again, not naming names, but there is a certain individual and others that are, in fact, in that capacity and in that role. But that is not my role. Mine is more of the security. And it is an alliance, part of the alliance, and that alliance with mankind has begun. And for the purpose of love and the purpose of healing, the purpose of bringing light to this damaged world, that process has in fact begun. I am telling you, it has begun. And more is to come. These changes are necessary. And they will in fact precipitate a positive outcome and give full empowerment to the Lords of Light and love to everyone everywhere. And a golden age will begin in the next 10 years, 10, 15 years to come. But in the next few months, that is coming. It is all for love and good. And this is no attack or no inciting or no instigating is coming against. This isn't coming from any civilization against any nation of this planet. It is just part of the process of change and the energy of what's going on at this time. And I won't go into any further details than that. Alright, I will close this video at this time, and thank you for listening. Peace and love and oneness to you all.